What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back again with the latest episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom. And we have this is our live Friday episode where usually we have a guest, especially a regular, and we're going to have James Colburn on the show. He wasn't able to make it, but we have Gene here, and so we're going to continue our conversation from last week about marketing. We're going to talk about what we're all doing in 2019. And we're going to talk a little bit about getting back to the basics, building a relationship-based business instead of the transactional one. So, as always, we have a lot of fun stuff to get into, and Gene is here, so we'll bring him in a second. But first, the Junior Grandmaster himself, present in the flesh and accounted for, Greg McDaniel. What's up today?
Good afternoon, and for most of you guys, good morning to us. It is always so much fun to be back here with two of my favoriteest human beings. We're going to be talking about all kinds of fun stuff, and Gene. I was listening to the Social Media Examiner podcast or show this morning, and I'm sure you already know about this. But
that's what I'm coming with today, actually. You're jumping on it.
God damn it.
Ooh, no, okay, go ahead. Do it.
No. I'm not going to burst your bubble. I'm not going to burst your bubble.
I don't care.
No, we're about to. Are we about to witness a marketing nerd fight?
No.
Well, Gene,
I think we were just coming with the same info.
Go for it,
dude. I saw it too.
I want to get your opinion on this because I was sitting there, my mind was spinning real quick, and I'm like, oh, there could be so many possibilities here. I don't even know where to start.
Well, now I hope it's the same thing, because otherwise, if it's not, we're gonna.
Well, there will be two pieces of content.
That's good.
Okay.
Does it have to do with YouTube?
Well, no, but I know what that is. But I have a Facebook thing, so you go with your YouTube, then I'll go with my Facebook.
Oh, you want to do this now, Matt Johnson?
Sure. By the way, Gene, welcome to the show officially.
Thanks, guys. How you guys doing? Good. It's good seeing you. I'm posting out the selfie that we did last week, letting them know that we're on the show today. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
So Instagram is off and running. We're doing good. So the thing I was talking about was YouTube is creating stories. See this now?
Mm-hmm. I saw that, and I was thinking about that. But they said it was going to be super, it's going to be laborious. And it's like, that's what they were saying. Is that
I don't know. I mean, well, here's the one thing I do know. You have to have 10,000 subscribers to get started. You have to be a content creator. So nobody on this show, and probably most people listening, have that ability yet. But I would imagine
we have like 15,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yes, we do.
What are you talking about?
Actually, you probably do, don't you?
We
actually do.
We actually do. Yeah.
Wow, I stand so corrected. I am so sorry.
You do, man.
How dare I?
How dare you?
Well, listen, then you should check it now. Why don't you look to see if you pull up your YouTube on your app? What you're supposed to do is on your phone, do it on your phone. On your app, at the top, there will be the camera button. And when you hit the camera button, you should now have a third option. It says record, go live, and then there might be another option that says stories.
Well, I have to be logged into that YouTube instead of my YouTube.
True story.
Hang on. 12, yeah. Okay, so 12,000 subscribers.
Okay.
And then you said it was the camera option.
Yep.
And then video, story right there.
Wow. See, I don't have that.
Check it, yo.
That's awesome. Oh, my God, that's so cool. So now we got to mess with that. We got to see what that's all about. Why don't you do a story while we're live on the air and see what kind of magic happens?
Wait a minute. So where is this thing?
So are you logged into the account?
Yeah.
So at the top right, look at the little camera, like where you would upload the video.
Yeah, it says plus.
Hit that, and then look at the bottom.
What am I looking for? Oh, story.
Yeah, see? Nice. There you go.
We have a story.
So now while you guys are looking at that and playing with it, I think this is just another platform's attempt at getting into your everyday life. I mean, these guys are they're making it easier for people to make content now, and they're doing it by being quicker. So now YouTube, go figure, has a record option where you can upload videos. It has a live option, so we can go live, and now it has a stories option. So if you don't want to watch a full live video, you can watch little snippets of Greg working out or Matt doing his hair. You know what I mean? Or something along those lines.
Matt doing his hair.
Or Gene on the toilet.
I was going to say, those are not equivalent. Those are wildly different lengths of time because Greg's workout takes, 45 minutes. My hair takes about 45 seconds.
I don't believe
minutes,
that.
Buddy.
I don't believe that. But the one consistency is they both make you both look fantastic.
Oh, thank you, sir. I love the kind words here. Now, can I do this from a desktop, Gene?
I haven't tried, Greg, actually. I can't imagine they're going to allow you to do that. I would take a look. But I think that stories feature is going to be more for on the go.
Yeah, so on desktop, it's upload a video, go live, create a post. And this is new beside create post.
Interesting. Click that. See if it gives you the option to create a story, or if it's like, that's weird. They're turning it more into like a social media network now, as opposed to
like to publish. So I can upload. Yeah. I could upload. Add an existing YouTube video, add a poll, or add an image.
Wow, that's interesting, actually, and I wonder if I have that on my YouTube channel. Let me see if I have that.
Yeah, so here's what it looks like for me now that I have it turned on. It's just like Instagram with the stories at the top.
Wait, hold on, I can't see it.
Really? Oh, yeah. Wow, that really is. That's a trip.
Oh, my God, dude. If that didn't have the logo, that is Instagram.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's red instead of purple, but yeah, that's it. And then you can click all, and it'll basically bring up your channel list. And show you which ones you can watch stories from. And, so it's interesting. Basically swiping it straight from Instagram, which I mean, for me, I was thinking about this the other day coming into the new year. Of course, granted, I'd be starting off with a different YouTube channel, so this wouldn't be accessible to me right away. But, I'm thinking about putting more resources into YouTube, like especially with the UX podcast. I mean, I feel like that would be a better, if YouTube is going to go the direction of making themselves more like a social network, that would be good for me, because to me, that's a much more of a native format than even Instagram. And if I was going to try to grow, let's say, more of a music career, that's much more of a native platform for me than Instagram or Facebook, where that's not. Because think about when you're on YouTube versus when you're on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook or Instagram is mostly visual. And most of the time, the sound is turned off unless you're unless it's really juicy, unless it's something that really catches your eye. Most of the time, you let that go. And even a lot of the videos that people watch on Facebook, they'll watch with the captions and the sound down. But YouTube is the opposite. People go to YouTube to watch and listen.
Which that brings up an interesting point, because I think you're right about that. Like, I'm there to consume content, and I'm typically there to consume the content when I want to see it and hear it at the same time, like you just said. But now if they're kind of integrating that social media world a little bit, does that dilute what they're good at? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't think so. And this is the reason why.
Because
my thought on this one is the fact that, with the stories ability, and I'm like Matt on this one, I'm going to put more effort into our YouTube channel for like live streaming, live prospecting, doing longer form content there, because it's never going to go away. Now, the stories go away in 7 days. That's the one caveat with stories, is 7 days. But being able to do more stuff on a YouTube where it doesn't get lost in the ether after X amount of time, because we put so much time into Facebook, that I think YouTube for video content is 100% the place to be for long form anything. So instead of streaming live onto Facebook, stream live onto YouTube, then you can grab that link and flip it over to Facebook if you really wanted to at some point down the road. And you can't, it makes it much more difficult to reverse that. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Gene?
Sort of. It's intriguing to me, the whole concept, because like my head's a little bit exploding now with the kind of bevy of things that they're offering. So now you got your social media space, and I guess it's really they're all the social media platforms are moving towards this, but like YouTube Red or YouTube Premium, right, where you can now go and stream your content. So my brother has that.
Right.
And
I thought they got rid of it. I thought they got rid of YouTube Red and renamed it.
It may have. It might be premium now. It might be actually called premium.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that they got rid of Red, but I know that whatever it ends up being is the channel lineup is incredible. Like I was saying to him, my brother's like a tech nerd, and I mean that with love. And I'm like a sports guy, so he doesn't care about sports. And I'm like, look, I can't get off a cable because I need to see the Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, and Eagles. And he's like, yeah, I can see every single game on every single network with just the click of a button. And I'm like, wait a minute, how many channels does it have? 200 channels, and it's like $39 a month. So he doubled down on his internet speed, cut all his cable, so he saved $200 a month, and he has this $40 YouTube premium package where he can watch all the shows.
Well, that's where everyone's going. I mean, I was listening to someone, was it Eugene that was saying that, or someone was saying that cable television saw the biggest drop. They lost like 1.1 million customers or something. So maybe it was a bigger number than that, but in 1 quarter or 1 month or something, they lost a substantial amount of clientele, and they're all going over to digital. I mean, everything's running on Wi-Fi, everything's running internet. Honestly, dude, if I could get away from never watching TV again in my life, I would 100% do it, because one, the commercials are fucking stupid. And they are annoying, and they are just they're more steering. They're not really commercial trying to sell you something. They steer you in a certain direction, usually political or something else. And that drives me banana cakes. So, I mean, I watch one show on TV, and I do it with my girl, and it's, live PD. And that's just fun to watch people get their ass handed to them. And then you feel really good about yourself going, oh, my life doesn't suck too bad. All right.
Yeah.
Look at this guy got in the cop car. But I think, so this is, okay, so we have the YouTube thing, and I think it's going to be very powerful. I can't wait to I'm going to start doing stories on YouTube just to see kind of how that interacts. Maybe they got a tip or a trick or maybe something awesome to share. I don't know. I'll play with it. Yeah. But for Facebook, here's what they came down with Facebook. Now, you know how Facebook has always been saying to us, don't sell, don't be promotional, be relational, have real connections with people. This is a community, right? They've always told us to do that, right? They just came out with a dedicated feed. Now, it's in beta, but it's a dedicated feed just for selling. So you could, it's like a JVC, a QVC on Facebook to sell widgets. So, hey, want to buy this, this Fitbit here? You can buy this, and you can buy it in real time, and you can have real interactions and communications with the seller right when they're streaming live. Now, my mind started going wild on this, immediately thinking, okay, so we have a dedicated sales line. Now, dedicated sales feed. So everyone who's on this feed knows they're going to be sold, right? There's no misunderstanding this. What about previewing a property or a home that's not on the market, trying to get a buy and a sell side? What about doing something like that on there that you could sell this property and get it before it hits the market? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it too big of an item? Or is it better for, do you think it's better just for shirts and widgets and shit?
Yeah, that's my first reaction. I like it in general. I think they're going to have to come up with something like that, because I think people are getting burned out on the advertising, like the in-stream advertising, essentially, like every fourth post on Facebook and Instagram is an ad, right? Mm-hmm. So I think people are getting a little bit burned out on that, and we may have to see that. They've done a lot of testing to try to optimize that, and that's kind of where they feel like the sweet spot is. But I do feel like that sweet spot will move around a little bit, and I would like to see that drop. But I do think there was another channel, there was another app that came out that was their goal, was to be a standalone place for you to communicate with the companies that you cared about, to give them the right to market to you, basically, in a place where you knew that's what you were getting. Yeah. And for the company, I think it's great. I think it's great for the consumer, as long as it means we can eliminate some of the marketing messages from the other spaces that we play in and give them a dedicated place to market to us, so that we can separate out. And when we just want the messages from our friends and family and our social network and stuff like that, that we have a place to get it. I would actually pay, I would rather have that. I would rather have Facebook come out and say, look, if you pay $5 a month, we'll separate all your marketing messages into this feed over here, and we're going to curate it so that if you don't pay attention to somebody for a while, we start stripping their ads out and don't show you them anymore, so that you only get ads from people that you care about, number one. Mm-hmm. And number two, it's over in this other place, so that you only interact with marketing messages when you want to, as long as you give us $5 or $10 a month. I would sign up to give Mark Zuckerberg $10 a month for that. So I think there might be something like that comes down the pipeline. I kind of doubt it, because I don't think most people think in those terms. They think of social media has to be free, but this is what you get. If we're not going to pay for social media, they're going to show us an ad every fourth post, because that's how you pay for it.
No, I think I would pay for that as well. And I mean, Matt, you and I have talked about this a lot, and we're totally off topic for our podcast. But,
I know we've gone strictly unbasics here.
It is totally unbasics.
What we said we weren't going to do.
I know, but hold on. So I mean, I would see, you would pay to not see ads. I would pay to have unfettered access to my entire friend list for Facebook Lives. I would pay to have my content pushed out to all my 5,000 friends. How much would you guys pay for that? Instead of the 2% that actually sees it, and then even less that actually interact with it to go or get the notifications. Would you guys pay for that?
if we're gonna start talking about what we're paying for, I would pay for me to not be able to see your ads. You.
What? Me?
Yes.
What the fuck?
No, like if I knew you paid for the ability to put ads in front of me, I would double down.
Oh, just to be like, hey, look, I don't want to see shit from anybody.
See from Greg. I would want to be able to. I would want to be able to pick who I didn't want to see stuff from. See?
Hey, Gene.
Huh?
I have the power to make you go away.
Mm-hmm. But you won't do it.
I just did it.
You won't do it.
I just did it. I made your image go bye-byes.
You bastard.
You're back. Don't worry about it.
All right. Yeah, you did too. I'm looking on the live feed on Facebook. You creep.
All right, let's go back to basics. We went full on tech nerd on everyone for a second. So back to the basics. Gene, what are you seeing on your side in the marketing? Are people there seems to be more of a movement back towards having a real relationship with somebody, knowing what their kids' names are, what's new, how their dog did from the surgery, just having that friend-based relationship. And, are you seeing that in your realm at all? Are you seeing a movement at all? Or are you just seeing this typical still type of marketing of just bullhorn to the world?
It's funny. I'm seeing the exact opposite to both of those, which is end of the year combined with the scare that the market's going to crash. Everybody's pulling their dollars back.
Really?
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, I'm getting that feel, and I could be off. I mean, I know don't get me wrong. I know there's people out there that are doubling down. There's people out there that know that there's two thoughts to that process, right? I better save all the money I can in case there's a crash, where other people are like, I need to position myself so when there is a crash, I'm at the top of the market.
Well, what's the top of the market? Top of the dog pile? Top of the dog shit pile, or top of the mountain? Well,
yeah, because even if it crashes, there's still going to be deals to be had. It doesn't completely go away.
No, there's blood. When there's blood in the streets, there's millions to be made. 100%.
Right? Yep.
Because it's going to thin the herd. 100%. You're going to, only the toughest of the tough are going to be able to make it through another crash, and that's okay. But I think that you're going to need something. I don't know if you're going to need the glitz and the glam and the bling and the blam to really get ahead in the marketplace. I'm becoming more and more firmly rooted in the thought pattern. We need to rise above the noise of life. And I think we're all fighting in the noise right now. And I think what I mean by that is we have to find a way to stand out from the crowd. Is it a networking event that you do with Rockstar Connect? Is it like I found these guys the other night? I went down and got a piece of pizza from my local place, my local slice house here, dude. Dude, it's 2-for-1 pints from 6 to close every Thursday, right? Nice. Yeah. And so I have Ray Wood. He's gonna with his company. Well, the company he kind of works alongside called Jiggler. Yeah. It's actually a pretty cool company. He's gonna create an ad for me with this. I'm gonna post it out there, and I'm gonna go try to go down and have a couple of beers with some people, have a slice of pizza, and build a relationship and have it be a weekly thing so that people bring the kids, bring the dog. It's outside. Let's hang out. That kind of a relationship based business from this point forward.
I'm strongly in favor of getting kids drunk. So I'm very pleased with this, Greg.
And that comes from Matt. Yeah, all right, ladies and gentlemen. I always wanted to have the adults drink. But...
Awesome. That was awesome. You need to be clear, Mr. McDaniel.
I love this idea. That's right. Come on down, guys. It's 2-for-1 pint night. Bring the kids.
It's drunk baby night. With Greg McDaniel.
All right, well, let's tie this back a little bit because I think my internet speed is picked back up, so I'm actually hearing and seeing you guys in real time, which is, believe me, it's the effect is startling.
I do believe you.
But taking this back to basics, when we talk about like all the things that are kind of changing and all the kind of new shiny things that we can do on social media. I think our first natural reaction is to think about how we can reach new people with these tools, right? Yeah. And what I love about the mentality that I was kind of trained in and came up in marketing, like coming out of viral marketing and spending a lot of time with Frank, the CEO, is he just has the opposite mentality of most people, which is, number one, you always, always, always reach out to the people that already know, like, and trust you. And then you leverage them to get put in front of people who don't yet know you, but you get introduced to them through the people who already know you. And to me, I think what we're seeing with social media is we're starting to see a shift where people are using social media a little bit more as a shield against people that they don't know, which is the same thing that happened with our cell phones. And the more that happens, it's not going to happen on every social media network at once, but the more that happens, the more that we can shift our attention and shift our intention to building relationships first, and then using social media to make it easy for the people who are big fans of ours to spread us and share us.
So wait, I want to back it up a little bit. Help me understand, because I honestly am asking this question. When you say you're using social media as a shield, break that down for me.
Yeah, so I think as a social media network gets more popular, there's a curve there where a social media app or a network, whatever you want to call it, is new and shiny, and people are open to connecting with people that they don't know. So Instagram has been in that spot for a while where you get followed by people that you don't know, and you're like, oh, I should check that out. Who is this person following me? People take advantage of that, and then you have bots and fake accounts and overseas accounts enter the market, and then you get burned out on that after a while. You start to realize, oh, these aren't actual all human beings that want to connect with me. A lot of this is just junk, or they're connecting with me because they want to sell me something, and they never follow me back. They'll follow me, and then they unfollow me as soon as I don't, and then it's just a game. So the more that starts to happen, and the more friends that we have on a social media network, 5,000, whatever the case is, we start to then shut ourselves off from the new connections, and we start to use it as a shield against new incoming people into our world, and we start to kind of go internal and isolate ourselves a little bit, just like we do now with caller ID and voicemail and things like that.
And email.
Right? So we don't pick up our phone and answer phone calls from people we don't know like we used to. Now we screen it out.
I do. I still do it. I'm a glutton. I'm a weirdo. But I just hired four or five. It's either 4 or 5 people I just hired as account reps for my radio show to help grow the funding. And I was thinking about that very thing, Matt, that when I was calling these people who had applied, we had 245 people that applied, 246 people that applied for this position. And when I called them, not a single one of them picked up the phone on the first ring.
Yeah.
They all waited for it to go to voicemail, and then they called me back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm seeing the same thing on social media. Like, I get followed by fucking Bitcoin people all the time. Like, hey, man, let's connect, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, delete, go away.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is the more that happens, like you're seeing it, and the more that happens, the more desensitized people get. And
I'm feeling that, and I want to understand that. I'm totally on board with that, because I'm like, even now when I see like a message on in my Instagram inbox, I'm like, gosh dang it, man, this is stupid. Yeah. I knew it wasn't going to be someone good.
Didn't take that long to switch, did it?
No, it really didn't. It was astonishing how fast. Like, when I first got into Instagram, I'm like, yeah, man, it's so cool. I got an inbox, click, oh, ad, another inbox, oh, ad, oh, who's that? What's this? Bitcoin. Oh, Bitcoin's cool. Delete. Now it's just the point where it's like, now it's just another annoyance that you got to clean out.
You know what's funny? I find this to be a wonderful, like a crazy psychological conversation. So if you think this is cyclical in nature, this is what we do with every single emerging technology as humans, right? It's like when you first had the phone, you know, I just put out a video the other day about what are some of the things that my kids will never understand, and people brought up like the rotary phone and the phone with one line and a long cord, right? And it was like that got beaten up because then now the phone's ringing 55 times a day, 28 of them with solicitors, so now you got to get an answer machine, right? Mm-hmm. And now I'm on the answer machine and I'm filtering out the 19 things of people trying to sell me stuff. Just to get to the one message that I care about, right? And then we got double line, and then three-way calling, right? And they start to get diluted. Then you go to MySpace, and you get on MySpace, and it was exciting because I have a way to get my message to everybody without having to deal with anybody's bullshit one-on-one. So it was almost like a platform where when I got on, I felt like everybody was watching me, but I didn't have to go sort through the crap. And then everybody got on MySpace, and the same thing occurred. And then we moved to Facebook, and Facebook was exciting because everybody could hear me. I could blast it to everybody, but I didn't have to deal with all the crap and the noise. Now it's that way. You're going to get on Instagram. So it's like, for me, I think it's funny that we've developed or underdeveloped, it depends on how you look at it, to a point where we need to be heard by everybody, but I don't want to deal with anyone. Like, that's what we're
Dude,
doing.
I'm telling you, that's what everyone is chasing.
Yeah.
Everyone is chasing free attention, but they don't want to be on a network where they have to compete. So the only place that works is in emerging social networks when they're in the first few years, and there's enough novelty, but there's not enough people.
And here's what I think, though. This is the part that I find completely mind-blowing, is that we all think we deserve it.
Yes, we all do.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing on the That's the thing on the top of it is like, well, I hate Facebook. Why? Because these people are rude, and I have to go sort through their thoughts too. This is bullshit.
Yeah, I don't have time for your bullshit. Like, I have my own shit to deal with.
And I want you to know about it, by the way. I'm on the toilet right now while we're talking, just so you're aware. But that's really important in your world.
For anybody that's listening, Gene is not actually on the toilet unless there's one behind the desk he's currently sitting at. Just so that you know.
And that's
taking us back to basics, yeah.
Yeah, so that comes all the way back around to it. So how do we fix this, emerging problem, which is it's going to mushroom cloud. And we're going to come to an apex here, and then we're going to find another vertical, and it's going to be exciting and new and cool. We're all going to jump into it. We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep kicking this can down the road. The one thing that can't be kicked down the road is an interpersonal relationship with somebody.
Yes.
I mean, Gene and I have never met, but we have a very good friendship. Matt and I have met and traveled around the world. We have a very good friendship. But those are two totally different types of friendships, and the one thing that they have in common is that we come in and what are you shaking your head at? Whenever you do
actually,
that,
it's funny you mentioned that because for the first, I don't know how long,
2 years at least.
Well, for most of the first year of our relationship, like both when you were a viral client and we were recording video an hour a week, and then when we started the podcast, God, we did that. We probably worked together for a year before we met in person, and I would have considered you one of my best friends.
Exactly.
So weird.
Exactly.
Thank God we've moved on from that phase, but
I know that friendship thing was rough.
Did you see this week? You saw some of the coverage of George Bush's funeral.
Oh,
I
man,
did not
get
see.
me started. Yes. What about
No. It's not a political angle. No. I'm not.
Okay.
Not nothing like that. But I think it was George W. Bush's eulogy, and there was a part in the eulogy where he was talking about how his father taught him that it's not about all these other things. It's about when people remember you for stopping them on the street and asking about their kids, and asking, like, it was the human element of it. Like, it's great that he's the president, but if he's an asshole, he's an asshole, and who cares, right? But people don't remember like that stuff. They remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
And I think social media is decent enough to get that conversation started, because I can make you feel pretty decent in a video. But there's something to be said about – you're giggling. I know where your head's at. But there's something to really be said about sitting down and shaking hands and giving the man hug and, like, talking and smelling that other person's scent. Like, all your emotions are intact, right? You raise your eyebrow, but you can't tell me right now that if there was a beautiful woman next to you in the room and she smelled awful and you hated her perfume, you're out. You're out, dude. Right? But on the flip, if it makes her more attractive, yes?
Yes. There's
Thank
this
God.
one
Thank
perfume.
God I have very little sense of smell.
Oh, God, dude. There is this one perfume. I don't know what it's called, but it literally makes me gag. I will walk out of a room. If I smell it on the street, I will walk away from it. It is horrific. I don't know what it's called, but I totally get where you're coming from, Gene. There was a gal that I was doing phone calls through the database. Actually, no, just doing just random circle prospecting calls. And this gal, she's like, "Is your dad Terry McDaniel?" And I said, "Well, yes, he is." "Is your mom Sally?" "Yes, she is." "How do you know them?" "Well, and keep in mind, this was like 25 years ago or more. My dad, she worked at the country club where they've been members of for 35 years or something stupid. And in downtown Alamo, Subway had just opened. No. High Tech Burrito. And my dad looks at her and goes, "Have you ever had a High Tech Burrito?" And the lady said, "No." My mom and my dad got her in the car, drove her down, bought her a burrito. She remembered the burrito 25 years later and said, "Have your dad call me. He was the nicest guy. What's he up to?" I'm like, "Well, he's grandpa now." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, he must be loving." And we had a good conversation about it. But the human aspect of saying, "Oh my God, you've never had a high tech burrito. Get in my green Suburban," because that's what he used to drive. He loved his green Suburban. Holy shit. We had to pry that from his cold dead hands to get him into his next car. But he'll get him in the green Suburban, drive down, bought a person a burrito, $5, $6, maybe $7. It's a 25-year memory.
Yeah.
That is power.
Yeah, we get it. You're hungry, Greg. We got it.
I am hungry.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You're making me laugh here because I'm thinking about something tech-wise that fits right into that, right? So
Green Suburban?
No. About so I feel I would argue that the best marketing invokes the most senses, right? So
Yes.
if there was a way, like the more emotions I can invoke through my marketing, the more likely it is that I can sell you on my product. Make sense?
Yes.
Right.
This is why we tried to come up with smell-o-vision or something.
Well,
in the
this is
50s.
where I'm going. There are two guys right now currently working on a phone technology where you can actually send text with smells.
Oh,
Can you
God.
imagine?
What?
Can you?
That's the worst.
I want you two to envision
Poopy
the first-
emoji.
the first text that I send to both of you. What do you think that's going to smell like?
Big old pile of smelly turd.
Yep. I was gonna say, like, it's going to bring out the worst in guys because that's what we do. That's what guys do.
Listen, can you
This is
imagine
the
that
worst
meeting? The
idea
meeting you're at
ever.
with a bunch of people, and I can sneak a text in from you, and it smells like that, and nobody around knows that it's coming
That's
from
right.
your phone. That's going to be awesome.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
how about really bust a buddy's balls? He's going out on a date with a hot chick. Just send him this shitty emoji text, and so it starts smelling around him.
It's always good when when our inner 4-year-old comes out, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
I used to have a
This is
boss that used to
terrible
say-
idea.
I used to have a boss that said to me, "I don't care how old I get, I'll always laugh at a fart."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah, that makes total sense. I mean, I get it."
That sounds like a dude. Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Dude,
All
Oh
right.
God, it is true. That never, fart and poo jokes never get old. But see,
Oh my God.
the funny thing is, look
I
at this.
said, "Oh my god."
The three of us are sitting here laughing, right? But yes, it's a funny, weird, disgusting topic. But it's a very human topic that everybody can relate to, right? So if you can go out and find those, I don't know, evergreen topics or emotions that you can pull off of that you can then fully interact with. I mean, the three of us are laughing our asses off being 4-year-olds. And everyone who's listening to us or watching us, they're probably laughing too because, oh my God, these three idiots are laughing so hard.
I was going to say, if there's anybody still listening, good God.
Oh, there is. There's tons of value here, Matt.
Uh-huh.
It's coming from you, buddy. It's all your. Anyways, I was almost going to be too nice. Anyways, I fully agree to getting back to basics is finding something where you can relate to someone 100%. And you know what? A 55-year-old woman might not find our humor very funny. That's cool, man. You know what? But a 35-year-old dude will probably be rolling, making his own jokes, laughing his ass off. It's okay not to be liked
That is
by
true.
everybody.
Well, and that goes back to where you're talking about, like, rising above the noise, right? If we want people to spend time with us online and actually connect with us and kind of get into our real world, even if the relationship starts like Greg, you and I were, our relationship started virtually, right?
Yeah.
But we spent so much time together, it felt just as real as if we went like college roommates or something like that, right?
Yeah.
We already had that bond because we spent that much time together. If we want people to spend time with us, the problem is we spend so much of our time thinking about how to like grab somebody's attention, but we don't really have anything all that unusual, surprising, startling to say. And we don't put ourselves out there in a way that's really much different than anybody else. Like most of the problem with us trying to get attention online is that we don't have that. We don't have that like a lot of original thoughts. We don't have that much to say that's like genuinely different.
That's
So when you talk
true.
about rising above the noise, like it's our responsibility. Like if you want attention on social media and if you want people to spend time with you on social media so they get to know you, we have to work harder to come up with something original to say, original to do, or we have to find the tribe of people that connects with the things that we like to talk about. And that's not going to be everybody, but I think we spend a lot of time talking about so many different things that we never really hone in on the one or two things that are different and surprising and startling and compelling that really rise above the noise. So we end up trying to rise above the noise by just creating more of it, and we end up just contributing to the noise.
And that is our biggest problem. I was talking to a coaching client of mine, and he kind of got animated about this because he's just like, you know what? I learned this thing that there's so many coaches out there, and they're all saying the same shit, and all those coaches have coaches, and the coaches that he's talking to just regurgitate what their coaches told them. And I'm like, yeah, man, there's nothing really original about real estate. I mean,
There's nothing new under the sun.
Just new packaging on it. That's a new take, a new personality that's delivering the same content in maybe a different order. And I agree. And it's kind of disheartening when you actually think about it. You're like, I got this great idea. No, dude, that was back in the 1850s. They were doing the same thing. But it just hadn't been said for a long time. What was that? There was something I was listening to.
It was Chris Prefontaine. So his episode's coming out. We recorded with him on Monday. That's going to be a killer episode.
Fascinated me.
Because he talked about buying investment properties on terms. So you don't have to come up with your own money, and you don't have to use bank money either. And he said when he went back and researched it, he found the first reference to buying on terms, they said people were doing it, and real estate agents were facilitating it in the late 1800s.
Yeah. It was incredible to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
When you guys listen to that, he's going to give a couple of locations where you can go and listen to a webinar he has at no cost. Yeah. I mean, both Matt and our antennas just went straight up. Chris was like, oh, that is some interesting shit right there.
Yes, and that's the thing and that's a great example, right? So it was literally as soon as he opened his mouth and said, look, I teach people how to do X without Z, right? Mm-hmm. I teach people how to buy real estate without using their own money or having to go through the bank approval process. Right. As soon as we heard that, we're both like, all right, I'm listening. That was different. It was startling. It was surprising. Right. Mm-hmm. And it may be something that was old. It may have been an old idea that's resurfaced. It could be a lot of different things. The point was it was so different than what you and I hear from guests on this show that immediately you and I both were like, okay, I got to hear more. And you were going to the extent of, all right, I got to figure out how to get into your world and incorporate this into my business like now.
Oh, dude, I took a
I'm
whole
going to watch
page
the
of
webinar.
Notes.
Yeah,
I took a whole page of notes.
You took notes. I took notes. And that's our responsibility. Like if we want people's attention on social media and we want them to spend time with us, we need to spend time like sharpening what we're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm. You got to be better than you were yesterday in some way, shape, or form. Read something, listen to a podcast, read a book, go to a seminar, read a magazine, do something to become smarter. Go sit in a room with some really smart people where you're the dumbest person there and shut the fuck up and just listen. Take copious amount of notes. Here's a funny thing. We always wonder why the top dogs are the top dogs. Have you ever, I've noticed this in my old company, every time that there was a seminar or a speaker or something that we'd all go to or had to go listen to, the agents that did lower quality or quantity to medium quantity would sit there and just listen. The top agents all had their notepads out and were writing every single thing down that speaker was saying. And it's not that what the guy was saying was new. It was just a reminder of something like, oh, I should be doing that. Or, that's a great twist on this thing I'm already doing. Their true leaders are always writing, listening, and learning. I mean, I listen to a book every morning when I'm working out, either elliptical or running or some sort of combination. But I get a minimum of 30 minutes a day of some sort of new content into my brain. Like I'm listening to Build a Story Brand by Donald Miller again right now, and there's parts that are hitting me again. I'm like, oh, that's the part about this whole story thing. We need a good hero. We need we need the guide, but we also need a good enemy. We need a good evil to fight against, right?
Yeah. And something different jumps out.
Something different jumps out of me every single time. It's awesome.
Yeah. And then the rest of that equation is applying it.
Wait. I have to do something after I learn something?
Yes. The real people who are the top dogs don't just take notes at the seminar. They actually look at the notes again and then implement something into their we were talking about that in the other shows that we recorded. That I carried a Tom Ferry last time I went to his event, a big old thick, like 2, 3, 4 inches thick book he gives. So I carried that thing around for a year until I got the new one. Then I carried that one around for a year. And it was just powerful. I'd ask everyone, where are your books? And they all said, oh, it's back in my office. Well, what's it doing back at your office, man? You have all the knowledge right there. You paid time and money to go get this stuff. And anyways. I'm going to get off my soapbox on that one. Gene, why are you staring at butterflies in your house? Like just gazing just off into the nothingness.
I'm looking up at some of the equipment I got up there. I'm just checking some stuff out. That's all.
Oh, I thought you were just blissfully just out of your mind, just like
No. I have cameras and lighting and stuff up out of range of the camera. You can't see that I'm just kind of just taking inventory of. That's all.
Yeah. So, Gene, I know we talked about this a little bit because I sent out a podcast episode and an email about the Gary V strategy versus the Simon Sinek strategy. I don't know if you listened to the actual episode, but you and I had a nice email exchange about that. So which direction do you see yourself going next year? Like pumping up the volume and the quantity of content that you're putting out? Or are you looking to like sharpen and refine your message so that it's more startling and surprising? Like which direction do you see yourself going?
So I got to go with the former on that one. I feel like my message, because of the way that I am, my message is startling most of the time anyway, just because of the way I come off. You know what I mean? Like I think most people are like, did he just say that? So I have that going for me. I would use the Sinek approach of figure out your why. Like, why am I actually going to act like Gary Vee and create a lot of noise? And kind of sharpen that aspect of it, I hope. Like, in other words, I need to create a show that's going to get me this type of follower based off of what that why ends up being. Like, why do I need this type of follower? How's it going to feed back to what I want to have done? So I'm a Gary Vee guy. I'm a Gary Vee, I would say disciple, but I'm not a disciple. I like what he does. Of all the people I probably in my life on social media, I probably consume more Gary Vee content than anything else. And so that speaks volumes to me, because if I'm consuming it, that sort of tells me that he's doing it right by my eye anyway. So I don't want to be him. Don't get me wrong. I want to be me. But I like a lot of the tactics and strategies that he employs. I don't want to sell K-Swiss sneakers. Like, I'm not interested in any of that stuff. But I like what he's doing. I really like what he's doing. I like the way he lays it out there. I like the fact that day when I found him, I clicked a like on something, and within 17 minutes, I was bombarded by his content from every single platform. Like, I'm like, how is he doing this?
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I didn't know. And that was early onset for my marketing piece. I was just like, what is this dude doing? And I have some really good ideas based off of some of his talks, and I think he's real, you know? So I'm going to pump up the volume, I think.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be. Are you going to try to do more your noise? Like, it's not going to be regurgitated stuff. It's going to be. Are you going to try to create original content? Noise?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I mean, well, no, 90%, right? So I think here's one of the things I think I'm really good at is that when I hear something, I'm able to process it and then put my spin on it. So even if Gary Vee says, I think X is happening, I then go back to the well and I go, okay, I can see why he thinks X is happening. Here's the other 5 things it's going to affect and how we can capitalize on them. And how do I bring that to market? So from a real estate agent's perspective, I'm thinking about, okay, you're a real estate agent. I just heard something that Tony Robbins said. How can I apply that to the service we provide and then give you that free content so that you can use it to help better yourself and your business? And by the way, if you want to talk live about it, give me a buzz. We can chat, that type of thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about talking live really quickly. Okay, you go ahead, and I'll come back on the talking live.
Yeah, what's the problem first? Okay. Let me hear the problem.
Well, so the problem with that is that we already have somebody trying to be the Gary Vee of real estate, and that's Tom Ferry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are buddies.
I mean, down to dressing the same way. You know what I'm saying? Like he's really leaned hard into reinforcing that point of view that he is the Gary Vee influencer coach for real estate. And I think it's a smart, savvy business move on his part from Tom Ferry's perspective to be that. The problem is for all the rest of us, like especially for Eugene, if that's the role, if that's the persona that you want to cultivate, is that slot, so to speak, that mental bucket within people's mind is already taken.
Yeah, but I'm okay with the thought process that there's enough out there for everybody. I mean, there's 2 million real estate agents. I'm not in the business to how many are there?
1.3.
Okay, 1.3.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether it's 1 million or 2 million. What matters is who's first in the mind, because that's who wins the lion's share of the reward. He's going to take the majority of the profit. It's not that there's not enough out there for everyone. There is. Yeah. But we always want to carve out a niche where you can be first in. You don't want to play in the niche where somebody else is already number one and just try to live within their niche, because at best you'll be fighting for table scraps.
Well, all right, so I guess there's 2 thoughts to that. Number one is maybe table scraps. Depending on the table you're at, table scraps are pretty nice, right? Like Brad Pitt's throwaways are a lot prettier than most of the people. You know what I mean? Like that's okay in certain cases, you know. So you see what I mean about like where people are like, did he just say that? So yeah, I did. But that's okay in certain spaces, right? Now the flip side of that is that I'm looking for my niche every day. Like I know for a fact, overall, my niche is not in real estate. Like, I'm
Right.
really good at that element of it, but real estate's great. Like, it's fun, but so is, I also do work for a commercial glass company. That's awesome too. My moxie comes when I can go speak and do training. And if Tom Ferry's in San Diego, maybe he's not your guy. Maybe I'm the guy on the East Coast, and maybe you're only going to pay me 1/50th of what you were going to pay him to get in front of your people. I'm probably okay with that. So I'm not looking to take over the world. I'm not looking to be Tom Ferry. Someday I'll share a stage with him. Chris Smith is a great example of that. I think he's a great dude. They have a good service. There's different things about my services for real estate agents that separate me from him, good or bad. The consumer is going to determine that. I like this about Chris. I don't like that about Gene, and vice versa. So I mean, I'm okay. I think I'm okay with that. I'm okay with only making $20 million a year. I don't need 80.
Why not?
Well, Chris Smith is a good example. Tell me the one word that comes to mind when you think of Chris Smith.
That's a tough one. I actually had dinner with him, and I spent like 2 days with him. I don't know.
I can tell you what it is for me, and I'm
I'd love to hear yours. I'd love to hear yours.
Conversion.
Okay.
I think everything that I've ever heard him say, including his book, including his keynotes, and his entire point of view, stretching back to how he presents himself as coming from the boiler room calling environment, is all about converting leads into sales. The conversion code, exactly. So I think he's really smart in the sense that there's a lot of different directions, and there's a lot of ways to play within the real estate space as a category. But he owns the word conversion. I don't know anybody else that's even attempted to carve that out. And if you wanted to have somebody come in and speak at your real estate event on lead conversion, who's the first person you think of? Well, it's the guy that wrote the conversion code. Nobody else owns that word.
So that's really good. That's really good. That's a really good thought process coming out of you. I like that a lot, and it actually opens up my mind to something. And as I started to think about this, I think sales would be the word that I would use to describe him. This is the first thing I think of, and I'll tell you real quick why that is. He came and spoke. I emceed an event that we held back in 2015 when this book just came out, and I still have like 200 copies of it in my office. When it first came out. So he came out and he did his hour talk, and in the end, look, he even signed it. Do you see that? Gene, you are the man. See, from the conversion code himself, I am the man. Read it there first. When he came out, his whole pitch was on sales and converting the sale, and he told us the night before, like, some of the stuff he was going to do. But he was masterful. He basically told the audience for 45 minutes, at the end of this, I'm going to sell you my product, and here's how you're going to sell your product. And he systematically went through him selling his own product by telling them how to sell their service. And at the end, he did exactly what he was going to say, and people rushed to the back table to buy his product. And I was standing on the side of the stage, and I'm like, it was so funny. It was so funny because I had this incident when we were younger where one of my best friends was standing up for a buddy of mine. And this guy jumped out of the car and wanted to fight my buddy. And my friend was like, dude, I'll fight you, but you have to understand. I'm going to tell you everything's going to happen, then I'm going to knock you out. And he let the kid throw a couple haymakers at him first, and he went, okay, my turn. And he was going like this. Here comes the left. Here comes the left. And he would hit him square in the face with the left. And he was like, okay, now here comes the right. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Oh, that's funny.
But that's what Chris Smith did. He got up there and he went, you're going to buy my product in about an hour. And here's why, and I'm going to teach you how to use it and why. And then he did, and he sold it, and I was like, that was true salesmanship. So I have to go back and say sales.
Yeah. Yep, and that's, to me, that is the challenge to all of us, is we just as much as Chris Smith and anybody else that sells things to agents, as much as that's a saturated market, the world of people's attention on Facebook and Instagram is exponentially more crowded. Yeah. It's our job to figure out what word we want to own in the minds of the people that we're trying to sell to.
That's really good. Really good.
Yeah, and that's how we carve out kind of that space. So there's a lot of different things that we could do. To me, that's my challenge for next year. So I've kind of settled on what word I want to really go after, and it's machine, which is part of why I called that's why my Instagram handle is the UX Machine, because it's about building a type of business that runs like a BMW. right? It's the ultimate business machine. So that's kind of like, I want to be known for that word. I want to teach people how to turn their business into a machine. I want to teach them how to build a new media machine that keeps them visible, so it's not all up to them. So I like everything revolves around that word. I was talking to Frank about this years ago with viral marketing, and he's like, look, we've built the business to the point where we own the word database in the real estate industry. That's why we're successful. That's it. Like, everything comes down to that, because he went after that strategy, figured out what word he wanted to own. And Greg, that, like, for you on social media, that's your challenge, is if you're going to talk about, like, if you're going to rise above the noise to your real estate clients, and you have a radio show and you have the platform to do it, what's the word that you want to own? You know, is it fun? Is it beer? Is it is it a certain type of lifestyle?
The thing I'm going for is freedom.
Freedom.
Look and act and do as you please, because I have been in a cage the majority of my life geographically. Mm-hmm. I've been locked in this location because this is where my business has been. Mm-hmm. I want to get my radio show to a point where I'm financially free, where I can pick up and go do whatever I want and make a very healthy income on it and do what I like to do, talking to the consumers, talking about real estate. You know, that is where I would thrive, and I would love, and I'm making active steps towards it. So for me, I guess total freedom is kind of where I'd want to be in 2018 and 2019, excuse me. And I've always said that I want to be known as the Coca-Cola of real estate. You think real estate, you think me. End of story. Now, I always thought that might have been sales, but it could be, a radio personality, a TV personality. If you think real estate, what did Greg say last time? It's not that I'm saying, hey, look, this is how, I'm not pulling a Grant Cardone of like, hey, this is how you buy an apartment complex. I don't buy apartment complexes. I couldn't do that. But I can talk to the mom and the pop. I can talk to the new buyers. I can talk to the people who are selling their property for the first time. I can talk to the people who are taking their family through probate because their grandfather just died. I can do that. And so that is where, I don't know, that's kind of where I might want to land in the next year or two. That kind of a realm. So it's interesting. I don't know. Freedom is a big one, though. And then when I was writing out my goals and I wrote the words, step out from the noise of life. And I was like, what does that mean? Noise of life. Because what we all do is we all say the same thing. We try to yell louder than the guy next to us or the gal next to us, but it's the same content. There's nothing original about it. Therefore, why aren't I getting sales? Well, because you don't do anything cool, new, different, or interesting. I mean, what's his nuts? He owns Virgin. Sir Richard Branson. Dude, that guy, when he did Virgin Bride, he'd come out with wedding dresses. The fool dressed up in a wedding dress. I mean, he drove a tank down the main street in New York City for another one of his promos. He has a naked supermodels on his back as he kiteboards, off his private island. That fool stands out. So, I mean, how are you going to stand out from what you're going to be doing? So, Chris Smith, I didn't know enough about him to have a comment on that one. So that's why I just kind of shut up for a minute. We've had him on. I think we're going to have him back on. But I just don't know much about him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the bottom line is that whoever is known for something sucks the oxygen out of the room for everyone that tries to do or say the same thing. Because human beings, we just don't have room in our mental buckets for a lot of different people or a lot of different brands. So if we're out there and we're saying the same things as Gary V, for example, guess who gets the credit? 80% of the time it's going to to be Gary. You know what I'm saying?
But it goes back to your point, Matt.
With just piggybacking on his content.
Yeah, I mean, but like what we said before is that we reference him because it gives us a higher social standing. Be like, I was listening to Gary V the other day, and then you say what he said, and you're like, and you feel good about saying it, but you just didn't. You're a conduit for something that someone else talked about. You actually are nothing when you say it. Gary V said this the other day. You're like, what the fuck? You don't have an original thought in your head? You have no this is what he said, but this is my opinion on it, and give you a different twist on it on your viewpoint on it.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
dude.
And if we're not saying anything that people can't disagree with, we're not saying much. Yeah, we're not doing it right. Yep. Yeah. It's like, and that's what's interesting about Gary V to me. Now, not that there's other things that he says, but essentially the main message of Gary Vaynerchuk is more content, more attention, right? But who can disagree with that? There's no disagreeing that more doesn't work.
Right.
Nobody debates that. There's no, I mean, it's not exactly a polarizing viewpoint. He just shouts it more louder and more often and in a certain entertaining style that people get a kick out of. But who's going to take the opposite position? Who is out there saying you should be less on social media if you'd like to grow your business?
That's right.
You know?
That's going to be a big problem. But you can do it your own way, though. I mean, for me, I mean, I stumbled into the whole beers and calls thing that I do, calling. Matt, you and I talked about recording my calls.
Right.
2 years ago, whatever, and we both like, do you think anyone would watch? We're like, I don't know. So recorded something. It's like 27,000 views of me just sitting there silently for 30 minutes. It's crazy. But I mean, whatever you're good at, niche down on it. I mean, have fun with it. I mean, really enjoy the shit out of it and just stand stand above the noise of life. That's all I'm going to say. We took a 30-minute show and turned it into an hour very efficiently.
We did. All right, guys. So let's do this. Guys, go rate us and review us on iTunes if you enjoyed it. If you enjoy having Gene on the show, which, of course, we know you do, make sure you give him a shout-out in the rating or the review. You can do that on iTunes. You can do it on Apple Podcasts right from your phone, which would be awesome. Greg, what's the best way to reach out and connect with you?
Guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Let's talk about EXP, kind of where that company is going, and if you want to jump on that bandwagon with us. Our whole goal when people join our team is, one, provide them with all of our resources. That means all of our products, anything we've made, you get for free, so we can help you, guide you along this battlefield of a career called real estate. Help give you a little bit of a leg up, multiple different products there, and also get free coaching with me. So if you guys want to do that, and all the other resources like getting with Hank Avick and his 36 to Life at like an admin cost, masterminds with Jeff Cohn. There's a ton of value here, guys, to help you propel you into the next stratosphere of your business. So go to bookmcdaniel.com, book a time with me. Let's talk EXP. Matt, how do they rate and review the show?
Oh, I talked about that already. Gene, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
You fuckhead.
Head over to gvimedia.com or genevolpe.com. On genevolpe.com, there's a little pop-up widget that allows you to connect directly with me, so there's not too much thought process behind it.
Oh, by the way,
we
Gene,
we want as little thought process behind reaching out to Gene as possible. Do not think about it, just do it.
Gene, the clients that are referred over to you, they are pumped to be working with you, and they're loving your ideas.
Cool. That's awesome, dude. I'm excited to work with them, too. I see some cool things coming up. We might be in Disney World, me and you.
And Matt's going to be there with gloves and a face mask on with a whole bottle of Perel because he loves kids that much. He's like, don't touch me.
Strictly a hazmat suit. That's how that works. Hazmat. It's going to be like that. It's that scene from Monsters, Inc. where they get exposed to the little kid and they just shave off everything and bathe them. That's how I am at Disneyland. All right, guys. Let's throw a nice bow upon this episode. Let's do a I don't know what I'm looking at here. Let's do a bright yellow. I don't know why. Bright yellow,
like the shining star that you are.
Yellow ribbon around the old oak tree and around this episode of Real Estate Uncensored. Let's wrap it up.
So much stuff to say. Anyways, guys, we love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. We can't do it without you. We love you. We respect you. We want you guys to take this knowledge, and like we talked about, don't just sit on it like a hen sits on an egg. Go out there, put it into action, and Matt's putting his eye into the mic because I'm going to keep rambling because he wants me to get off. So that means I'm going to actually let this thing run out a lot longer at the end just to annoy the living shit out of my business partner.
Let's wrap it up. Come on.
All right. You're using my air. Shush. All right, guys, until next time, peace out. And we're gone.